Welcome to the Economic Countdown. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Are banks planning to steal from you? Do you remember when this pandemic started? It seems like it was a long time ago. The first case in the U.S. was confirmed on January 21st, 2020. It was declared a worldwide pandemic on March 11th, 2020. On March 19th, California became the first state to issue stay-at-home orders. We know the rest of the story. During the first few months, media hammered us all, reminding us that we're all in this together. You probably remember hearing somber music, seeing the videos of everyday people. All of the large corporate players did it. Communication companies, car companies, insurance companies, even local utilities did it. On the surface, the idea was to remind everyone that they were there for you in these uncertain, unprecedented, trying times. Like all good advertising, these companies wanted viewers to think that they mattered. It was great for a while. As the pandemic dragged on and people got used to wearing a mask everywhere, these companies adjusted as well. Those adjustments came with some discomfort for lots of companies. Other companies leaned right back into their old habits that showed us why many people really don't like mega corporations to begin with. What We Must Do to Rebuild is the title of a recent report from Deutsche Bank. In the report is a suggestion that anyone who works from home due to the pandemic should pay a tax to help those who cannot work remotely. Why, the bank says, is that these work-from-home employees are contributing less to the infrastructure of the economy but still fully benefiting. The argument the bank puts out cites loss of sales for businesses that thrive from office workers commuting to work. Think businesses like dry cleaners, delis, coffee shops, as well as areas like public transit. With many more people working from home, these small businesses have suffered and struggled. Many will eventually close down. It's an awful fact. Yes, we stand to lose thousands of small businesses due to the forced shutdowns. The fact that the country's leadership failed to adequately address keeping these small businesses whole during this pandemic is even more awful. Politicians have collected a check on average of $8,000 per month for 8 months and delivered next to nothing to rescue the small business while allowing billions of taxpayer dollars to go to large corporations under the pretense of saving jobs. Lots of these large corporations took money and laid off employees anyway. Others sent their employees home to work to try and control the spread of the infection. The fact that a company like Deutsche Bank is proposing a tax on workers who are doing what they can to try and slow the spread is both laughable and shameless. It comes across as out of touch at best and shifting responsibility at worst. This is the same Deutsche Bank that paid billions in fines after getting caught as part of the Lieber scandal in 2015. This is the same Deutsche Bank that in that same year was fined for doing business with countries under U.S. sanctions. This is the same Deutsche Bank that has been caught laundering money more than once. Surely and without a doubt, the bank has plenty of investments in commercial real estate and therefore has a vested interest in offices being occupied. And this is probably the real reason for creating such a cockamamie scheme, hoping the tax on from-home workers will help cover their vacancies. At the same time, Deutsche Bank hasn't exactly been hurting during the pandemic. Deutsche Bank's stock price in late March 2020 was around $6 a share. Last week, it was at $11.19 per share. So during a worldwide pandemic, the bank's shares have nearly doubled. Not many people working from home have had their net worth nearly double since the spring. But sure, let's tax them even more money. It's not like massive companies like Deutsche Bank have countless billions that they store away. It's doubtful that the bank's proposal will be taken seriously, but it shows that the large corporations really don't care for the little guy. Yet, they continue to make their ads play to the public's emotions. So who is pulling the strings behind the curtain? This has long been a question people have been asking. When they ask or speculate, many are called lunatics, but the answer may be right in front of us. Complex system theory opens the windows into the dark side of bank control and international finance. Some of the major players in the shadows are revealed. Just follow the money. Systems theorist James B. Glatfelter followed the money. From a huge database of 37 million companies, Glatfelter pulled out 43,060 that were transnational corporations, all connected by their shareholders. Digging deeper, he constructed a model that shows how interconnected these companies are through their shareholders. Glatfelter did a fantastic job figuring out the main players or ownership networks, as well as showing how much power they have over the global economy. Each of the 1,318 has ties to 2 or more other companies, and on average they are connected to 20. Additionally, although they represented 20% of global operating revenues, the 1,318 appeared to collectively own through their shares the majority of the world's large blue chip and manufacturing firms, the real economy, representing a further 60% of global revenues. When the team further untangled the web of ownership, it found much of it tracked back to a super entity of 147 even more tightly knit companies. All of their ownership was held by other members of the super entity that controlled 40% of the total wealth in the network. According to his data, Glatfelter found that the top 730 shareholders control a whopping 80% of the entire revenue of transnational corporations. And, surprise, surprise, they are mostly financial institutions in the United States and the United Kingdom. That's a huge amount of concentrated control in a small number of hands. Here are the top 10 transnational companies that hold the most control over the global economy. And if you're one of the millions that are convinced big banks run the world, you should get a creepy sense of validation from this list. Barclays plc, Capital Group Companies Inc., FMR Corporation, AXA, State Street Corporation, JP Morgan Chase & Company, Legal & General Group plc, Vanguard Group Incorporated, UBS AG, Merrill Lynch & Company Incorporated. Some of the other usual companies round out the top 25, including JP Morgan, UBS, Credit Suisse, and Goldman Sachs. What you won't find here are ExxonMobil, Microsoft, or General Electric, which is amazing. In fact, you have to look all the way down to China Petrochemical Group Company at number 50 to find a company that actually creates something. The top 49 corporations are financial institutions, banks, and insurance companies, with the exception of Walmart, which ranks at number 15. The rest essentially just push money around to one another. Here's interesting facts about the number 1 player, Barclays. Barclays was a main player in the Libor manipulation scandal. Barclays were found to have committed fraud and collusion with other interconnected big banks. They were fined $200 million by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, $160 million by the United States Department of Justice, and £59.5 million by the Financial Services Authority for attempted manipulation of the Libor and Eurolibor rates. Despite this, Barclays still paid $61,781,950 in 2013, including a whopping $27,371,750 to investment banking head Rich Reese. Yep, that's his name. These are the guys that run the world. Instead of too big to fail, we're looking at too connected to fail. It's essentially the too big to fail argument laid out in a scientific setting. Only instead of just the U.S. banks, we're talking about an international cabal of banks and financial institutions so intertwined that they pose a serious threat to global economics. Glatfelter says that a high degree of interconnectivity can be bad for stability because stress can spread through the system like an epidemic, similar to the spread of the pandemic across the globe due to the interconnectivity of humans traveling. Industrialist Henry Ford once quipped, "It's well enough that people of the notion do not understand our banking and money system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." It's one thing to have suspicions, but when unraveled in a scientific setting, it's very concerning. Navigating the economic fallout of the pandemic isn't going to be an easy task. As society wrestles with what to do next, it's important to remember that only you have your best interests in mind. Federal leadership has shown more interest in continuing partisan infighting than helping the people. Big companies showed empathy until it wasn't marketable anymore. Thank you for watching the Economic Countdown. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless America.